Hello. Wow, thank you so much for the introduction. It's an honor. So I have devoted the past year to researching masculine ego structures on Hinge, and I'm so excited to share the results with you today. Let's get started. Thank you. So first, some background on Hinge itself. It's a mobile dating application similar to Bumble and Tinder. The main difference being that instead of swiping right or left, you like aspects of a user's profile. A profile is made up of photos, bios, and prompts. And we'll be exploring some examples of those later on. In terms of my background and why I devoted my research to this topic, I experienced a disappointing breakup last year. And if I could summarize this relationship in one image, it would be... I think this sums it up, so in the interest of time, let's keep moving. All right, so I'm gonna go through some demographic information first. Here we go. This is an excerpt from a user's bio. There's a couple of things wrong here, but we're gonna focus on one, the political affiliation. It's named here as moderate. The options available to you are conservative, liberal, moderate, prefer not to say, and other. You also have the option of not including this on your profile at all. So we can assume that the presence of this signifier is intentional. And at first glance, it doesn't seem so bad, right? Like, what's wrong with being moderate? I'm chill. I don't care what we're having for dinner, you pick. I'm moderate. But let's take a deeper look. So here we have the political spectrum and where moderate falls on it. So to the left, we have conservative, the destruction of our entire planet and everything on it, including every last shred of hope in humanity. To the right, we have liberal, not doing a ton, but their main platform is, how about we don't do the fascist thing again? And then to the right, we have luminaries like Jeff Bezos, Matt, let me explain diversity to you, Damon, as well as figures like Aziz Ansari and Louis C.K., who have very bravely come out to let us know that outrage culture is the real problem, and not, as some would think, being held accountable for your actions. Which brings us to moderate. And the crux of this viewpoint is the idea that both sides have their problems, and I'm the only one rational and intelligent enough to see that, hence my moderate status. And when I see these mod bros in the wild on Hinge, I avoid them, and that works out totally fine. However, when they like my profile, I have to admit I am quite perplexed. Because here's an excerpt from my dating profile. Thank you. Does this look like a moderate person to you? Is this the face of someone who is like, human rights? Not for me. Let's move on. All right, so now we're gonna look at religious preference, which is here noted as atheist. Again, seems pretty innocuous, you might think. Just a religious philosophy, right? Oh, but when we take a deeper look, this is the kind of person we're dealing with. What if I told you that I like discussing philosophy and the nature of existence? That's gonna be a no from me. This person really wants you to know that they took Philosophy 101. And you know what? I get it. I went through a God is dead phase myself when I was 19. But while I still love wearing black turtlenecks, I've since dropped the unwavering conviction in something literally unprovable, as well as the withering condescension directed towards everyone else. I will like this user back when I'm in the mood to have Nietzsche mansplain to me, which is to say, it will not happen before all of the polar ice caps melt and we all die. Okay. All right, now we're gonna move into some prompt analysis. First prompt is, my last meal would be pizza. That is incorrect. The prompt did not say, please prove that you have eaten food at some point in your life. This is the last meal you will have in your corporeal form. And for those of you who are not familiar with my field, the purpose of these prompts is to communicate identifying information. So let's dive into why this fails to do that. What is pizza? Firstly, let's look at a breakdown. 23% of pizza is cheese. Scientists have discovered that cheese is addictive because of the dairy proteins present, which act as mild opiates. Each bite of cheese produces a small hit of dopamine. So, liking something addictive, is that a personality trait, right? 19% of pizza is tomato sauce, cheese and tomato. Name a more iconic duo. You can't. Let's move on. 38% of pizza is bread. Bread is so beloved and popular that an easy way to display your penchant for masochism is to say, I'm not doing carbs right now. It's a great way to let people know that you hate yourself. Which brings me to 19% of pizza is your choice of toppings. That's right. You get to customize this dish based on the foods that you like. So, with that being said, it makes complete sense that the vast majority of people like and enjoy pizza in some form or fashion. So, that is why this answer is incorrect. Next. Most spontaneous thing I've done. Recently booked a solo flight to Japan. Never been, can't wait. At first glance, this seems to not fall into the trap of the pizza question. It seems unique, right? It may shock you to hear that the vast majority of the answers to this prompt is just some variation on this. I quit my white-collar finance job and booked a one-way ticket to an exotic country using my Alaska points. I think we have some footage of those people. Oh, here's one. I think we have another one. That's great. And it's great. It's awesome, right? Because there's truly nothing more spontaneous than privilege. Lastly, for prompt analysis, on my bucket list, bike pack Asia. First of all, what? Second of all, Asia is the largest continent in the world in terms of geography. So if you're biking the entire continent, I am, color me impressed, right? But do I want to enter a relationship with someone who will be on the other side of the world and very busy for the next 10, 15 years? I don't know. In addition, I'm just confused by this verbiage. What is bike pack exactly? Is it biking with a pack on? If so, it would behoove you to know that this is terminology used by no one. Or perhaps you meant to say backpack Asia, and you forgot that bike and back are different words. Any case, that is still incorrect. So in conclusion, to sum up my experiences trying to date cishet men as a cishet woman in her 20s can be summed up with this graphic. However, on the bright side, based on my research and my recommendations, my department has agreed to funnel 20% of our annual budget into a beta program called How to Date Men When You Hate Men. So please stay tuned for that. And normally, this is where I would end my lecture. However, at my last lecture, I had several cishet men reach out to me concerned that they exhibited some of this behavior. And I cover several different categories of behavior in this presentation, but I saw a lot of interest in the Softbois classification. And I take a lot of pride in my role as an educator. I take a lot of responsibility in that role. So I just wanted to educate you a little bit on Softbois specifically. So first, the definition. In dating terms, someone, usually a young man, who has alternative interests that make them feel superior, but can be emotionally manipulative, especially if rejected. So let's take a look at 3 real examples so that you can assess whether or not you fall in this category. Listen to the lyrics, the rhyming schemes, the tempo. Thank you. I now know how to listen to music effectively. That's so helpful. You might also escalate things emotionally out of left field. I'm gonna go for a sober cigarette and listen to Bon Iver to get me in the mood, then make a mug of chai tea and watch Paddington 2 in bed. Shortly after, I hope I drown in my tears. Or perhaps you like to flaunt your taste in movies. Favorite Wes Anderson films in order, go. Best to worst. You have till the end of the day, and I'll let you know if you're right. Very helpful. If you have done any of the above or something similar, I regret to inform you that there is a high risk that you are a Softbois. If you would like more information on this diagnosis, I have a couple resources to recommend. This is an alphabetical compendium compiled by Vice.com. So you can see this in further detail and also discover what sub-classification of a softboy that you are. I would also recommend following this Instagram account, Beam Me Up Softboy, which is dedicated to providing up-to-date, real live updates from softboys all around the world. And lastly, if you're worried that you or someone you love is a softboy, help is out there. There are a couple things that you can do. Number one, please call 1-800-PRO-THER. That is to say, please get a professional therapist. It does not count if you seek unpaid emotional labor from a girlfriend or women friends. They need to be professional. Second of all, please consume art that isn't just by Jack Kerouac or Quentin Tarantino. Because first of all, ew. When you consume art by people who don't look like you realize that people who look like you don't have a monopoly on great art or the universal human experience. That's not a joke, that's complete serious. Lastly, realize that toxic masculinity isn't reserved for macho men only. So, you're not sexist just if you're a gym bro or a character on Mad Men. I don't care how many shitty poems you write or how many tears you cry. If you're sexist, you need to be held accountable for it. So, in that vein, please, thank you. In that vein, check yourself, and then check yourself again, and then keep checking yourself. Great. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Thank you so much.